picture this. It's 2 in the morning.
Oh, the worst time to be awake.
Right. You are tossing, you are turning, you've flipped your pillow to the cool side about like 4 times already, but the cool side has mysteriously just vanished.
It always does.
It's gone. So you're lying there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and the blame game begins.
Yeah, you start calculating how much sleep you can still get if you fall asleep right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you blame the memory foam mattress for trapping heat. You blame the thermostat for being, 2 degrees too high. You blame that iced coffee you drank at 4 in the afternoon.
Which you knew was a mistake at the time.
Obviously.
Right.
But what if the secret to a restorative night's sleep isn't about the hardware of your bedroom at all? What if the culprit is literally resting right against your skin?
It's really the ultimate blind spot in our daily routines. I mean, we will drop thousands of dollars on a high-tech multi-layer mattress, right? We invest in blackout curtains, we set up these expensive white noise machines, and then we throw on some old, worn-out, aggressively pilled college t-shirt and just expect our bodies to seamlessly drift off into deep physical recovery.
Guilty as charged.
Most of us are. The environment right next to our skin, that immediate microclimate, is just completely ignored.
And that brings us to the core of today's deep dive, because we are tearing into a really comprehensive breakdown on modern sleepwear, specifically focusing on the great silk versus satin debate.
It's a big one.
It is. We're also looking at how modern brands in this space, like Apparelizer, are fundamentally rethinking the engineering and the aesthetics of what we wear when we power down for the night.
Because when you look closely at the materials we use for sleep, you start to realize that a fabric isn't just a color or, a texture.
Right.
It is a functional tool. The fibers you actually choose to sleep in, they actively alter your body temperature, the hydration of your skin, the structural integrity of your hair.
Which is wild to think about.
Right. And ultimately, it alters the architecture of your sleep cycle.
So our mission today is to decode the actual science behind these fabrics. We're going to break down the biology, confront the reality of the laundry room, and explore how sleepwear has evolved into, like, a major fashion movement.
Lots of ground to cover.
Absolutely. So by the end of this, you'll know exactly what you need to upgrade your own nightly self-care routine. Okay, let's unpack this. Because to figure out which fabric is superior, we have to clear up a massive misunderstanding right out of the gate.
We do.
When people compare silk and satin, they think they are comparing apples to apples.
Right. They assume it's like comparing cotton to wool or linen to denim, like comparing one raw material to another raw material.
But it's not.
No, it is anatomically incorrect when it comes to textiles. And this distinction fundamentally changes how you should be reading clothing labels.
So break that down for us.
Well, let's isolate silk first. Silk is a natural protein fiber. It is literally a biological substance produced by certain insects, most notably the mulberry silkworm, to build their cocoons.
So it's an organic thread harvested directly from nature.
Exactly.
And historically, because of how labor-intensive it is to, carefully unravel those microscopic threads from a cocoon, it has always been the absolute peak of luxury. It's a raw ingredient.
Right. Satin, on the other hand, is not a fiber at all.
Really?
Not at all. Satin is entirely a structural concept. It is a specific weaving technique used on a loom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so when fabric is woven, you have vertical threads called the warp and horizontal threads called the weft. In a standard weave, like say your cotton button-down shirt, the threads go over one, under one, over one, under one.
Sort of like a classic woven basket.
Perfect comparison. It creates a strong matte grid. But in a satin weave, the horizontal threads will actually float over 4, 5, sometimes even 8 vertical threads before tucking under.
So they're just resting on top.
Exactly. Because those long threads are floating on the surface without constantly intersecting, there are fewer microscopic bumps to scatter light.
Oh.
That continuous surface reflects light beautifully, which is exactly what gives satin its signature high-gloss shine.
Wait, so comparing silk to satin is basically like comparing the wood of a tree to the specific way a carpenter builds a table?
Yes.
One is the raw ingredient, like the oak or the maple, and the other is the carpentry technique used to put it together.
That's spot on. What's fascinating here is how that technical reality gets manipulated in the retail space.
Because people don't know the difference.
Right. Because satin is just a quote-unquote carpentry technique. You can apply that technique to almost any raw material.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. You can weave nylon into a satin finish. You can weave polyester into a satin finish.
Yes.
You can even weave natural silk, using a satin technique to make it extra glossy. But when you walk through a standard department store and you see a shiny pajama set simply labeled satin, you are almost always looking at a synthetic plastic.
Like beautifully woven polyester. So a customer sees the shine, they feel the smooth finish, and they assume they are getting a luxurious, breathing fabric, when in reality they just bought a highly refined petroleum product.
In the vast majority of consumer sleepwear, that is exactly what is happening. The satin technique is being used on cheap synthetic fibers to basically mimic the aesthetic of silk.
Okay, now that we've established this definition disconnect, that silk is a natural protein and satin is usually a synthetic weave, let's move into how these physical structures actually interact with our bodies at 2 in the morning.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the biology of bedtime.
This is where the differences between a natural protein and a spun plastic become impossible to ignore. Let's look at the microclimate of the skin.
Okay.
Because even when you are perfectly cool, your body is constantly releasing moisture vapor as you sleep. It's about a cup of water a night.
A whole cup, just from vapor.
Yeah. It's significant. Now, silk is naturally hydrophilic. It loves water.
Yeah.
But more specifically, it is incredibly efficient at moisture management.
Meaning it pulls that moisture away from your body.
Right? It absorbs the moisture vapor before it can condense into liquid sweat on your skin, and then it releases that moisture out into the ambient air of the room.
That's amazing.
It happens because the molecular structure of silk, specifically a protein called fibroin, contains amino acids that are highly compatible with the human body.
So it's basically working with you.
Exactly. Because it breathes and manages moisture so effectively, silk naturally regulates your temperature. It prevents you from overheating in July, but it creates this gentle insulating layer in December.
It's essentially a smart fabric engineered by thousands of years of evolution.
That's a great way to put it.
The breakdown also highlights that silk is inherently hypoallergenic.
Yeah.
Because it pulls moisture away so efficiently, it creates a very hostile, dry environment for things like dust mites and mold, which, they require dampness to survive.
Right. It is a highly active participant in your sleep environment. It's constantly adjusting to your body's outputs.
Okay, let me stop you there because I want to push back on this based on the mechanics we just talked about.
Okay, go for it.
We know both of these fabrics are incredibly smooth. Silk is naturally smooth, and satin is woven specifically to have those long, floating threads that create a slippery surface.
Yes, the long floats.
Right. So they both reduce friction. We hear all the time that sleeping on smooth fabrics prevents your hair from breaking and stops those deep sleep wrinkles on your face compared to sleeping on rough cotton.
Sure.
If satin's weaving technique gives me that exact same glossy, friction-free surface for my hair and skin, why am I paying triple the price for silk? Isn't satin doing the exact same job?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to separate mechanical smoothness from biological harmony.
Okay, break that down.
You are absolutely right about the friction. Hair strands are covered in microscopic overlapping scales called cuticles, kind of like shingles on a roof.
Right.
When you sleep on a standard cotton pillowcase, the rough fibers catch those shingles, pulling them backward. That causes frizz, tangles, and eventually breakage.
And a smooth surface lets those shingles glide.
Exactly. Satin provides excellent mechanical smoothness. Because of those floating threads in the weave, your hair glides. The physical job of friction reduction is accomplished perfectly.
Okay, so a win for satin.
Mechanically, yes. But if that satin is made of synthetic polyester, its benefits stop at the mechanical level.
Because underneath that smooth surface, it's still plastic.
Precisely. Polyester is completely hydrophobic. It repels water. When your body releases that nightly cup of moisture vapor, the synthetic satin acts as a barrier.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, the vapor hits the fabric, it cannot pass through, and it condenses into liquid sweat right on your skin. It traps the heat.
So while your hair might glide smoothly over the pillowcase, the microclimate against your neck and back becomes a swamp.
A literal swamp. You wake up feeling clammy and overheated because the fabric has completely blocked your body's natural thermal regulation.
That makes total sense. So satin gives you the physical slip, but it is effectively a smooth wall. And silk gives you the physical slip, but it acts like a biological filter. It manages the heat, manages the moisture, and keeps the dust mites away.
And for someone dealing with sensitive skin conditions, eczema, or severe allergies, that active moisture management isn't just a fun luxury perk.
It's medicinal, almost.
Right. Keeping the skin's microclimate perfectly balanced is a functional necessity to prevent nighttime flare-ups and actually achieve restorative sleep.
Okay, so on the pure biology and comfort scorecard, Silk is taking the win. It's an incredible material. But let's bring this out of the laboratory and into the laundry room.
Ah, the laundry room.
We need to do a practicality check. Biological harmony sounds fantastic on paper, but how does it hold up to the reality of everyday life? Because a fabric that actively manages your skin's microclimate also sounds like a fabric that might fall apart if you look at it wrong.
You've hit on the great equalizer of this debate.
Right.
Silk is a major lifestyle investment, and the hidden cost of that investment is the maintenance.
The dreaded dry clean only label.
Or hand wash, yeah. Remember how we discussed that silk is made of fibroin proteins and amino acids?
The things that make it so compatible with human skin.
Yes, but those same proteins make it incredibly vulnerable in a standard washing machine. Most regular laundry detergents are formulated with heavy-duty enzymes called proteases.
Okay.
These enzymes are literally designed to seek out and digest protein-based stains, like blood, sweat, or food spills.
Oh no. If silk is made of protein and the detergent is designed to eat protein.
The detergent will literally eat your pajamas.
Wow.
It breaks down the molecular bonds of the silk fibers. And on top of that, wet silk is highly susceptible to mechanical abrasion.
Like tossing and turning in the wash cycle.
Right. If you throw it in a warm water cycle with a heavy agitation of a standard wash, those delicate threads rub against each other, the fibers snap, and it loses that incredible glossy texture.
It gets dull.
It becomes dull, rough, and its biological benefits degrade rapidly.
So it's like buying a high-carbon steel chef's knife for your kitchen. The cutting performance is absolutely unparalleled. It glides through everything. But if you leave it wet in the sink for an hour, it rusts.
Perfect analogy.
You have to carefully hand wash it, completely dry it, maybe even oil it. It demands your attention.
It really does.
Synthetic satin, on the other hand, is the stainless steel utility knife. Maybe it doesn't hold that exact same microscopic edge, but you can throw it in the dishwasher every single night, hit the heavy wash cycle, and it comes out perfectly fine.
That is the perfect way to look at it. Silk requires specialized pH-neutral detergents, cold water, gentle hand washing or delicate cycles, and strict air drying away from direct sunlight.
Who has the time?
Exactly. Synthetic satin is essentially spun plastic. It is incredibly durable. It resists shrinking, it resists wrinkles, and it can withstand standard washing machines and detergents without batting an eye.
It's the ultimate low-maintenance option.
And this is exactly why the modern market treats satin as the gateway to affordable luxury. Not everyone has the financial budget to fill their dresser with real silk, but more importantly, not everyone has the time or the mental bandwidth to hand wash their sleepwear on a Sunday afternoon.
Right. I barely have time to fold my regular laundry.
Same here. Satin allows you to get that glamorous aesthetic and that crucial mechanical friction reduction for your hair without adding a stressful chore to your to-do list.
It